Hey, how's it going, everyone? Uh, Gav couldn't be with us today, so we've got Robbo and Sid. Um,
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Whoa, look at that. Whoop.
Gav couldn't be with us
Sorry.
today, so we've got...
Sorry. Novice. Robbo's got some ballast to turn. I'm unsure what Sid is going to be doing. But yeah, go for it, Robbo. I'll put you on.
Yeah, so if you've got any questions, anybody, usual thing, put questions in the front so Jay can see them and he'll ask me and I'll stop and answer them, all right?
Mel Carr's just come in. How you going, Mel?
Yeah, Mel's Gav's wife.
Okay.
How are you, Mel? G'day, Tommy, Kat, Mike, Tommy.
And Rob.
There's Jay there too. All right.
Rob CP.
G'day, Rob.
Wood turning by Barry's just come in. How you going, Barry?
G'day, Barry. No, Bernie's on these. Sorry.
But Barry said, "That's not me. That's Baz."
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, the Frenchman, Barry. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, he had some family problems, so yeah, all good. Uh, in the chips has come in, and they've said, "Looking a bit distinguished there, old man."
Who, me?
Yeah.
Never. Oh, you should have seen me yesterday. I had the suit on yesterday.
There's Steve Holy has just come in. How you going, Steve? Yeah, thanks, Mel. I didn't really think it was my place to say that. So. Chris Charlton has just come in. How you going, Chris?
Right, Chris?
Oh, so in the chip has said, yes, you're now matching that tattoo in my arm just nicely, and he's got inside joke in bracket. And Rob's got a question there too. You might as well look at it.
Yeah, no, it's balusters. These are balusters, and when they're all assembled up on a staircase, it's called balustrading or balustrades.
How's that?
Or
What
balustrades,
happened?
depending on where you're educated.
What happened, Sid?
Oh, I had to reboot my modem.
Oh, yeah.
That's why everything was dodgy. It wasn't getting enough signal. It just it kept dropping out.
Okay.
There we got. Hey Barry, Mel, Robocop, Mike, in the chips. Who's in the chips? Tommy.
That's one of Robbo's friends, I would assume.
Robbo's got friends.
Yeah.
No, I
That
haven't.
can't be right. That can't be right.
No, Tommy. Nothing exploded today.
Yeah, that was a nice piece today, Joe. I like the look of that.
Yeah, it's something different, eh?
Yeah, that's really nice.
The outside of the lid, you take the lid off and it fits on the inside of the container that I made yesterday.
Okay. Yep.
By
That was
pure
just
chance.
lucky, I'm guessing.
Sorry?
That was just luck, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Mike says hello too, Sid.
Okay, Mike. If I looked up at the screen every now and then, I'd see who was talking.
Yeah, true.
We've got a couple of bits of cypress I've cut up
Yeah.
to maybe do some little boxes out of.
I'll just let us know when you're ready to start up and I'll put you back up.
Yep. Just let that dry off a bit and then I'll take it off.
I'll just sneakily put you back on now.
Yeah, that's all right.
I can't wait till they have the option where I can take me away, but leave you two up.
Sounds dangerous.
And Robbo, Steve said that Frank Evans says hello.
Ah, say hello back, Steve. Nice bloke, Frank.
Amy's just come in. Hello, Amy.
G'day, Amy.
Keith,
G'day, Amy.
Keith from Circular Wood has just come in. Hello, Keith.
G'day,
Hey,
Keith.
Keith. Oh, geez, we've got about 180 years of experience here now, and only 2 of them are mine. Where did I put that? Cool. Keith hasn't met Robbo yet, has he? Keith, meet Robbo.
Sorry, what?
No, you don't worry about it. You
Robbo
just
to everyone.
Right.
hang on, Sid.
No, that's all right. It's good enough there. No particular reason for calling it Robbo. It's just I named it Robbo. And it sits up there watching.
And Tommy's got a question.
He reports back to me if you do anything wrong too.
I bet he does. He's a mongrel.
Tommy's got a question,
Yeah.
Robbo.
No, it's not. It's not straight. It's 20 degrees. I run 20 degrees down here, or 25. No, it's 20. I think might be 25. I never worry about it. I have got almost one that is straight across. Same as I don't worry too much about what bevel angles I've got on the miter.
Do you see what Mel's put in, Sid?
Thanks, Mel.
Looking good, Robbo. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? I've got another one that looks a little bit like Robbo's Facebook picture too.
Hey, Robbo,
Oh,
what's
cool.
in the
One,
chip?
Robbo. Oh, hang on, I'm not up.
Robbo, what's in
Yeah.
the chip's name? What's his name?
I have no idea, but you're right. I've slowed down a great deal over the last 4 or 5 years, I'll tell you. The hands aren't as quick as they used to be.
Yeah, something's going wrong with your camera, Sid. Oh, okay. All right then.
Yeah, I'm just
What
dropping
happened
out.
there, Sid? Okay. JP's just come in. How you going, JP?
G'day, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, how you going?
Does that comment want to be deleted, Jamie, or what?
Yeah, I think he's younger than I am too, JP.
He trips over a lot more than Robbo, though. Jennifer has just come in. How you going, Jennifer?
G'day, Jennifer.
So you might
Now,
want to read the chat, Rob. Read the chat, Robbo.
this is what, when you can tell whether they're right or not, when they're all the same. I'll take 5 minutes to read it now.
So Rob CP put something in the chips.
Just going back a little bit.
And Sid's internet's not doing so well, so he's going to stick out and stay out.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to work out who the chips in the chips is. It's somebody that knows me pretty well. I got an idea it might be Dave.
Would in the chips like to reveal their name, please, and where they live? You better add your BSB and account number too.
I'm just going to have a slurp on my cup of tea. I'm not that noisy. Although I must admit, when I was on a school tour once, we went to a hotel in Launceston, which is in Tasmania for those that don't live out here. And it was the worst service that we'd had on the whole trip. There were 40 of us all together. And they took nearly an hour and 3/4 to bring the first course out, which was soup. So all the kids had arranged that when they got the soup, they would put their spoons in it all in unison while the waiters and everybody were there. And then they went and sucked it off their spoons. And if you've ever heard 40 kids sucking soup off spoons, man, the noise is atrocious. But the waiters got the hint. They couldn't wait to get us out of there after that.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it is Dave. I know who it is now. There's only 2 people I know that call me old fella.
All right. Now, what's the other one?
Neil.
Okay. How you going, Dave?
Yeah, very easy, Rob. Most spindle work where the grain's running down the lathe like that, you do between centres. You can start bolts between centres where the grain's running across. For that, but then you can use a chuck. Like I could use a chuck, I suppose, on this end, but it'd slow me down too much. So I always turn between centres on most things, mainly because I do real turning, as you know. So basically, when the grain's running that way, yes, you can turn between centres. When it's cross grain like a bowl, you use a chuck or something else. Like you can start a bowl off between centres, but you can start it with a face plate or a screw chuck as well. Thank you, Tommy. Well, pen turning to a certain extent until you make it into a pen is real turning, spindle turning. And for Jamie's benefit, these are real tools too, Jamie.
So how many people's bikers need to be like changed?
Yeah, pretty well, Mel. Once you've done the first 4 or 5 anyway.
Hey, Rob CP would like to know when he's getting his certificate for completing level 1.
Yeah, I'll have a look in a second, Lotto. Well, Rob, it's like this. Hold on, I'll go back up a bit. Yeah, okay, Mel, I'll do that. I'll ask Gab about getting his tools while he's sleepwalking. Right, Rob, to answer your question about your certificate of competency, you didn't do all the lessons, mate. I didn't see the results of them. I couldn't mark them. You have to sit the exam again. Morning, Chris. All
How you
right, see you
going, Chris?
later, Amy.
How you going, Chris? See you later, Amy. Thanks for coming in. Take it easy.
Geez, I'll tell you what, it's nice and warm over here tonight. I'm actually raising a sweat.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we've had the aircon most of the night.
Very humid, I think. I'll go and check the temperature in the workshop. Geez, it's still 21 degrees.
You got your ceiling fan on?
No, I might have to get the budgie smugglers out and go swimming. All the ponds would.
Oh, no comment. Your number one fans just sat on my lap to watch your turn.
Oh, at least the cat appreciates me. Just having another slurp on my cup of tea. I don't think I've ever turned in my sleep. or gone looking for things in my sleep.
You know what? I think Julie would say otherwise.
I know, I generally, I think about a lot of other things when I'm asleep sometimes.
Yeah.
The pity you got to cut the burnish off so the paint will stick.
It's 9:45 at night, Mel.
Normally I would not stop the load to take these in and out, but they've got a little square shoulder on down in here. In my opinion, it's the worst cut in wood turning, coming in off a square in a straight cut, because if you don't get it right, it looks absolutely terrible. So, and it leaves a little, sometimes it leaves a little bit of fluff up on the square sections here. So I've just got to sand them off. So while it's stopped, I take them out and put the next one in.
And Barry's asked, how many more do you have to make, Robbo?
I'm just working it out now, actually. 14, 21, 21, 23, 25, 26. That's the first. Well, there's 5. I've done 35 altogether. There's 26 this size. Now I've got to change all the measurements over. So,
Oh, you see all those bits of wood at the end of the lathe there? That's all the pieces that he has to do.
I got another 40 to go, roughly. Right, get rid of those lines because they'll only confuse me if I don't. And I'm confused enough without having other things in the way. Now, all right, just got to find the stuff I need, which is thinners. Ah, feeling no pain now.
And Mel, that is for a customer.
Sorry?
Mel said the staircase railing, are they for, is that for, must be huge. Yeah, very
Yeah, it
huge.
is. Yeah, there's 21 steps up. They added an extension. It's a 120-year-old house, and they added an extension onto it. And they've had to put a landing and everything and increase the staircase up. But they decided that they'd do all the existing staircase as well, because if you compare this, they've had about 300 coats of paint on them, and all the details been lost in them. That's what they're
Yeah.
supposed to look like. So, yeah. So they tore the whole lot out and said, right, start from scratch.
Yeah, they must
But
have some coin.
but there's still part of an old staircase there, so I couldn't have a design deviation on the square bit that I would have liked. Just in case you don't know what I'm talking about.
Go and read the screen, Robbo.
It's this bit here. It's got to be perfectly straight down there, or it looks terrible. Yeah. You underrate yourself sometimes, Rob. It's just getting in the groove and just getting the brain around it and just going for it. Once you've got everything worked out, away you go. No, the longest I've ever done, Mel, was 200 for one house. But we used to supply a couple of staircase makers, and it wasn't unusual for an order of 200 or 300 at a time. Chair legs, we used to do 400 to 500 at a time through a couple of companies. And we used to do about 30 or 40 veranda posts a month as well for one of our local hardware shops. All right. Now, this is the way I set out our storyboard, so I'll just do it. Fortunately, these are about the same. They're just the same in the taper, just a longer taper, that's all. So I can use the storyboards on the end. This is the long one. You can see that they moved all the details just down the length of it. So they made the taper here longer, which is going to prove a bit of a bummer. But anyway, because it's going to vibrate like hell up this end while I'm doing it. But so I'm lucky that the markings are the same. Normally on balusters or that, I quite often work off marks just like this off the tool rest. But these are a little bit complicated. So normally I would have had a storyboard that went right from the square bits into the square bits. But with these tight corners on here, I couldn't do that. So I had to do from each end. Once I get the square section in, the pommel, then I can just fit that in there and it'll give me the details that I need down in here. Now, if I ever mark out a tool rest, I use an art line uni paint like that to mark them out.
Hey, Keith has said, keep up the good work, Robbo. I've had 50 handles to turn, but only 9 inches long. By 11 by 4 diameter. Ready to post now.
Oh, that's good, Keith. Yeah, we used to do a lot of, years ago, we used to do a lot of trowel handles. Now, the only reason I marked the tool rest here is so that I know roughly if everything's lining up with the storyboard. I also have another old baluster down the back here so that I can check where to put a bead, not a cove, and that sort of thing. It's very easy to lose track of where you are sometimes and put a cove in where the bead should be. And as I've only got enough timber to do the required amount, I have to be very careful about it. Yeah, all right. Okay, Rob. I'll drop the camera down and you can see. Now, this is not recommended for most people, but I'll disconnect it out of the carrier. I've got a short lead on this camera. As you can see, it's well below centre. So that when I sit here with 45 degrees on the tool, like that, it comes in just on or above centre when I'm moving it. So I only have to do that for coves and just down like that for beads. But it does make it awkward technically using the skew, because with the skew, the tool rest should be up about here somewhere. But I've got used to working with it down there with the skew chisel as well. So it doesn't really faze me, but you can get into trouble sometimes having the tool rest too low and you're working with the skew just here. Like if you watch while I'm working, so I'm hanging on the camera with one hand there, so the skew chisel virtually comes in on centre as well, whereas it should be up there by rights. But we don't have time to change tool rests, plus with one this long, you just work away at it and you just keep plodding on. This is a swine of a thing to get into the carrier. Right, got it. On just a normal tool rest, it's not too hard to miss, to keep lifting it up and down when you're varying it. So, and you'll notice also that I've got washers in underneath the things here just to set the height. Just saves me mucking about. Okay. When you've got the tool rest down this low and you're using the skew chisel, you've got to put slightly more pressure on it to keep it against the work. That's the biggest problem.
And Mike wants to know what's the average rate of tea consumption per spindle?
Sorry. With these, it's about five spindles and a cup of tea. On simpler designs, this is the mongrel of a design actually. I'll switch that off for a minute. This is a mongrel of a design because there is a variation in the depth here. You'll notice, well, hopefully you've noticed, that I actually mark it out there and then I'll take a skew cut all the way down through here to reduce this diameter by about 5 or 6 millimeters, because this little bead here is actually an eighth of an inch lower than the mean diameter of the spindle. So rather than getting calipers and everything, I've got pretty good eyes from doing it for so long that I just mark this one out at about 4 millimeter, take 3 millimeters off it. I know then that it's the right size, and then I'll mark it down another 4 or 5 millimeters to get it 6 millimeters high. So You just use, like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I've been doing it so long I can guess 3 millimetres, 6 millimetres, 8 millimetres, anything up to about 10 or 12 millimetres. So as long as you get all the depth right, everything else has to be right. Like just running down this, and I can't really move the camera, but that cut in there, as I've said on numerous occasions, we don't use a parting tool for marking out generally. So on this cut here, that's 3 millimetres down. The next one's 6. Next one's 6 because that's an even fillets across there. This one here is 6, and this one's 6 because that's all even fillets. Then that rounds over into that. You get rid of that to form your fillets, and they have to be flat fillets on this because they're only a millimetre or so wide. That's guesswork to get the taper down here. As I said, you take this down to 4 millimetres, take the top off it, that gives you your depth, and then I'll take it down another 5 to 6 to get the correct depth. This one here is 6, but that one there has, on the little bead there, has to be 8 millimetres because there's a fillet and a slight curve back into to get a flat section into here. This one here is 8 for the same reason. This one's 6 because there's a fillet here and it reduces in diameter down there, and this one's 3. So once you've got that in your head, it just becomes automatic. In fact, you have more trouble if you think about it than if you stop, than just do it automatically. There are some complex things on chair legs and things where, yes, you've got to use calipers to make sure the stepping and everything's right. But in most cases, I just use what's on the lathe. Like if I'm marking out inch gaps, for instance, I just use my skew chisel, and I'll show you. Other switch. I don't step it out with a rule or anything. I just get my spindle gouge, or my skew chisel at least, put a nick in it, line it up. I know the chisel's an inch wide, put another inch mark in that way. Anything to save a bit of time. Because time's money. All right, we're just having a quiet smoke, folks. Out of camera range. Any questions so far? I can answer them while I'm looking at the chat that way. Don't worry, Mel. If I had the kettle beside me, I'd probably be having more cups of tea too. In fact, when I was working, the girls that used to work here and the blokes that used to work here always knew that just keep the cups of tea coming, because I drink them half cold anyway. The hardest part is finding somewhere in the workshop where they don't get chips into them.
You like what you
What was that, Amber?
I was talking to the cat.
Oh, right.
The cat's watching you.
I was not seeing much at the moment. Oh, hello. Hello, Putty Cat. Yeah. Yeah, I like my cups of tea too. I'm not allowed to drink coffee, so it's tea for me. All right.
Philip Clements has just come in. How you going, Philip?
G'day, Philip. How are you?
So what'd you buy, Philip? Was it a new toy for the shop? Tommy has a question.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll answer it in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Murphy's house, Rob. Now, sorry, Rob has a question, does he? Yeah. Right. What is the most unusual thing Robbo has been asked to make over the years? A dildo is probably the most unusual thing that I've ever been asked to make. I got about 40 to go, Philip. Yeah, two very elderly ladies came in of the blue rinse set, and they were from one of the local bowling clubs, and they were pottering around in the shop, and looking very embarrassed, and they eventually came up to the counter and said, do you reckon you can make us a thing, please? I said, a thing? What do you mean by a thing? Oh, you know, a thing. And I said, well, describe it. Oh, well, it's about that long, indicated about a foot long, and about that thick. And I said, oh, you mean a dildo? And she said, yes, a dildo, and turned 50 shades of bright red. I said, yeah, I can do that. I said, when do you want it by? And they said, oh, well, our friend Mavis is having her 80th birthday in a fortnight. Do you reckon it'll be ready by then? I said, yes, be ready by then. Anyway, they came in on the Friday before the weekend. And, oh, fantastic. They said, fantastic, great, looks good. So anyway, I said, oh, you'll have to tell me how you went with it. They said, yeah, we're in sale all the time. We'll come and let you know. So on the Monday, they came in, and they're tittering away. I said, how'd it go? Well, she said, you wouldn't credit it, but the Lindenau Hotel was absolutely packed on the Sunday with people. And of course, we've got our 20 ladies there, and there's other groups and things there. It was a very popular venue for birthday parties and things like that. And we presented it to Mavis, and we said, you've got to open it now. So of course, typical birthday thing, when they sing happy birthday, everybody in the hotel looks around. There must have been about 200 odd patrons there, I suppose. Everybody turns around to have a look. She takes it out of the box and holds it up at about shoulder height. Dead silence. Anyway, the two ladies thought, oh, geez, we've done it now. We've upset her, you know. And she's looking at it for about 3 minutes, and there's silence all over the hotel because nobody knew whether to laugh or what happened. And she said, ladies, I'm thoroughly disgusted with you lot. And I thought, oh, we're in trouble now. She said, yeah, it's too bloody small.
Nice one.
So they all thought it was pretty cool. The hardest thing I've had to make is 6mm or 1/4 inch beading, 10 feet long, with a bead every 1/4 of an inch, and then split it in half. It was for a 16th or 17th century cabinet, and they couldn't put it in pieces. It had to be all one piece. It was a big tall boy wardrobe sort of thing. That took some doing. I made 6 of them before I got one that was 3 meters long, and I had to do that like on a, for those of you that run metalworking machinery, I had to do it on a capstan lathe. I'd copper tubes running out from the headstock. That was just that was 8mm internal diameter. So I ran it through the headstock into a chuck, and then I fed it out of there. I only had 3 inches at a time out, and I had to modify one of my tailstock centers to fit a chuck. They're actually made now with a screw thread on it, but they're not hollow. I'd have a hollow one of those, so I used to clamp it together and then stretch it out to do the 3-inch section. And then I had another section of copper pipe, 1/4 inch internal diameter, out that end to hold it rigid all the way through. We finally got 2 done, the full length, and then we had to cut them in half, and I stuffed one of them, but the other one we managed to cut in half. But it had to be interesting because we had to get it, well, Rob's done a trembler, so have I, and you've got to put them in a plastic tube, otherwise they break. But what we had to do with this was actually feed it out onto a board when we cut it, and then tape it down so that it didn't break. That's the worst job I've ever had to do. I reckon I lost about 2 stone in sweat doing that one. No, not 40 dildos, 40 balusters, Mike. No, Chris, they didn't give me a bit to copy. Sorry. Or are you talking about the balustrading? No, Rob, I couldn't do it that way. The paper just wouldn't let go, and trying to cut a 1/4 inch thing before I actually did it, it would have decreased the weakness and everything else, and likely it would come apart while I was trying to turn it. So I don't mind. They paid a fortune for it because they said, look, we'll just pay you on an hourly basis. We know it's a mongrel of a job, but we've been quoted a lot of money to have it carved. So now I've got a very fine blade on the bandsaw, and then I used the reeving knife behind the bandsaw to keep the split apart as it went through.
Been going for an hour and 18 minutes.
Yep. I'll just finish my cigarette and then I'll start again. I'm just looking for what I was trying to explain with having the tailstock centre onto a chuck. Where are you? No, not there. Not there.
I'm over here. I'm over here.
Here we go. No, what it is that, and that rotates, so you can screw a chuck onto there. This is inch by 10 because a lot of my old chucks were inch by 10. But then I had to drill a hole right through the thing to let the piece of dowel go all the way through it. I don't know if you can get them in England or not, but there's a local manufacturer here in Australia for them, and they're very handy sometimes.
Remember what that looks like, Sid?
What was that?
Oh, no. I just said to Sid, I said, remember what that looks like?
What, this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, geez, what? Another thing I've got a barcode, is it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
No, Rob, they're just different, that's all. The big turnings are just time consuming more than anything else. I don't mind doing big work or small work or whatever. It's all part of the job, so you just get on with it. The other problem with these balusters is that they have this little bit in here that there, and it's actually like that's full of paint. This one show it better, but there's actually two OGs. One comes down there and one comes down on this side. So, and it's rounded over on the top, and you've probably seen me get the pencil and put a mark on. That's what I'm putting the mark on here in the centre. Now I don't try and round over that top. I just come in here with a gouge. Sit it there. No, you can't see it. Sit it there. I come in with the gouge and do two half coves on there on each side, and then I'll round over that, but I leave a little flat section about 2-3 millimeters wide here, and when I'm sanding it, I just sand those edges over. It's just quicker and easier doing that than trying to do it with doing the whole thing with a chisel. That's another little cheat. That's out of Robbo's little black book of dirty tricks. Yeah, I know McGing have them now. Originally, Vermac were the only ones that actually made them. Talking about those rotating chuck holders. No, nothing big. No, big turnings really aren't scary as long as you follow all the safety procedures. Like, man, the risk assessment I do before I start the lathe doing those, I must admit, I wander backwards and forwards, up and down them 5 or 6 times before I actually start turning and just making sure that everything's right. No, everything I've got pretty much to say has been covered by everybody else. So it's just little things that I do. In fact, one of my opinion, the best wood turning book is a book by, there's the Richard Raffins one. She's quite good with the videos. But one of the best books written is by Keith Rowley, Wood Turning a Foundation Course. And Frank Payne is good, but it's 70 years old now. But the techniques are still the same. And for certain books, there's like the classic shapes and all that sort of thing. But forgotten what I was going to say now about the books. No, it's just there's a bloke called very well known bone and ivory turner. He died a few years ago, and he had a little thing, tips and tricks from the workshop or something like that, and it was actually a fantastic little musings of a wood turner, you know. Bill Jones, that's it, Rob. Thank you. Yeah, Bill Jones. Workshop notes, I think he called the thing. A lot of little hints and tricks in that as well. Yeah, I don't know whether it's around. He goes a lot into thread chasing and things like that as well. It's a lot of dyeing things that he covers in it, like a lot of dyeing tricks and tips that people don't see anymore. May be available on Amazon or one of the book mobs. And I think the Keith Rowley book, the first edition, is far better than the second. The second one was actually published after he died. And I think he might have been halfway through it and they cobbled the rest out of his notes and used bits and pieces out of the first book. It's not a copy of the first one anyway. All right, I'll get back into it in a second. I might make this the last one, then we'll have a chat if you like. Yeah, some of them were, Rob. That's dead right. And I must admit, I can cut the threads, but I'm no expert at it, and I'm afraid I have a great deal of trouble getting them to match up sometimes, like a lid on a box or something like that. And it's only because I haven't had time to practice it, that's all. Most hobbyists have an advantage over me. They've got more time to fiddle around and do things than I have. Right, said Fred. Let's get this one done. Now I'm going to tell you something, but you didn't hear it from me, all right? On a long taper like this, sometimes you can get a better shape on it by coming uphill because you're working into the timber rather than away from it. So normally when I'm doing something like this, I'll come down this way and then come from the bottom and just gently work up. So you get a more even line down it. But I didn't tell you that. If you're gentle about it, you don't really pull the grain out much. And the easiest way to tell if a taper is even is run your hands up and down it. Because you'll pick up any lumps and bumps in it if it's got any. All I got to say is I'm glad I don't have to paint these. Lovely, tell your mother. Put another one in, ready for the morning. The reason I started up before I actually pull them in is to make sure they centre in the chucks. All right, let's see what's going on. Right, any questions, folks? Oh, there's nothing stopping you, Rob, from making balusters. Well, what you can do, Rob, is this sort of thing. Where's it gone to? Bill's been cleaning up. Now I can't find anything on you where everything was. Hope he hasn't thrown it out. Wonder where he's put it. No, I can't find it. Years ago, I used to do a lot of work on a doll's house, which is 1/12 scale. And it needed veranda posts and balustrading and everything in it, and table leaks. And it's rather an interesting job, actually, making everything 1/12 scale. All right, Mel, good night. Thank you for coming in. Hope Gav's feeling better. Yes, Philip. Well, I had them made for me. So this is actually only the small set. Like I've got them from 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch up to 12 inches. You don't want to know how much the 12-inch ones cost, I tell you.
Did you see Philip's question?
Yeah, I just answered it. I actually use the 12-inch one. It's hanging up on the shed wall here as a bell. Makes a lovely ringing tone, like Big Ben. Oh, that's annoyed me. I'm hoping he hasn't thrown it out. There's a 1/12 scale veranda post.
You better go fish through the bins tomorrow.
No, I'll ring him up in the morning. On the other hand, he may have sucked it up the vacuum cleaner like I did with the chisel the other day. Yes, it was. In fact, it's just sitting over the back here. Don't know if you can see it there on the wall. That's 4 feet across. That one, the actual faceplate it goes onto is, I don't know if you can see it behind. No, I can't. Hold on, I'll just see if I've got enough power in the camera. Down there, that's the faceplate. That's only 3 foot. The bit of MDF on that, that's 4 foot up there. Once upon a time, I used to be able to lift them, but I can't now. We did 5 foot diameter tabletops for a Chinese restaurant that had to have leather inlays put in. They tried a router on it and stuffed it up. So they came to me and said, "Can you do them?" And like an idiot, I said yes. And then they wanted lazy Susans to go on top of them. That was interesting because we had to make like little casters underneath it too, so as the wheels rotated when they turned it either way. You'd be more than welcome, Rob, but you better bring an interpreter so as I can understand you, all right? For fluting and reading, yes, I do, Mike. Like I set up I've got a table that actually fits into the tool, into the banjos here, that brings the router up onto centre height. so that I can do any reading or fluting that way. It's just like a router table, and then I've got a depth or a pattern that it follows along to read them or flute them. I don't like doing it, but oh well, if they're paying the money, I'll do anything, pretty much, except turn pens before JP or somebody comes in. I used to have a lathe that used to, I built a lathe that actually did barley twists as well. I sold that to a friend. That was both left and right hand twists, singles, doubles, or triples. We used to make a lot of posts for 4-poster beds, and people seem to like the barley twist on 4-poster beds. So, how many we got in, Jay?
We've got 11 at the moment. It got to about 17.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh well, that's not bad for an off-the-cuff one.
That one all right.
It depends on your skill level, Rob, and the. I'll answer that in a minute, Mike. It depends on your skill level and how sharp the chisel is and how strong you are. But what you've got to bear in mind, if you've got a blunt chisel or anything like that and you're taking big cuts, you're probably going to snap the timber out rather than cut it. I got a request once, Mike, to make a 4-poster bed, and she was very, very specific about where she wanted the beads and the coves, and she wanted a couple of holes put through with dowels in them as well. And I thought, this is a bit odd. Anyway, she drew it all out for me, so I jokingly said to her, I said, oh, this sounds like a torture chamber. She said, it is. She said, I'll show you when you bring it up and to deliver it. So anyway, I delivered it up to Maui, which is a town up the road from us. And she said, come into my den. And it was a full dominatrix lair. She said, would you like a sample? I said, no, thank you. I said, I've suffered enough pain in my life without people inflicting it on me deliberately. Bit of a sook that way. No, like I said, over the years I had some very queer and unusual jobs. I hear that little chuckle in the background there.
Where?
Yeah.
It's not from me.
Oh, wasn't it?
Unless you can hear my pen hitting the paper.
Oh, I see. No. All right. See you later, Mike. Good luck with your voice.
See you later, Mike. Don't polish your voice too much anyway.
Well, I think, folks, I might wrap it up if everybody's finished asking questions or anything. If there's any more questions, I'll gladly answer them. Yeah, see you later, Keith. Thanks for coming in.
See you later, Keith. I don't think there'll be left anything to buff out. Mike, what are you on
Sorry,
about?
what's that?
Oh, nothing. It's all right. Just Mike.
Oh, no worries, Philip.
Yeah, cheers, Philip. Thanks for coming.
Give my regards to all the boys at the club up there. I kind of miss calling in there and having a cup of tea when I'm in the area. Hopefully next year I'll be up that way again.
Was that Queensland?
No, Central Coast of New South Wales.
Oh, close. No.
Yeah. Sort of halfway between Sydney and Newcastle.
Yeah.
Nice little spot, actually. Hello there.
Oh, this is what you could hear.
Oh, right.
And this.
Oh, we're making signs, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think we can knock it on the head, Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's been a pain, Phil, I know.
That's
Been
right.
bloody
It's like,
terrible. It's been terrible down here. Like, I'm an honorary member of a club down here, and it's played havoc with that. And even now, we're still only allowed to have 10, I think. And it's very hard to space everybody out.
yep.
All right, see you later, Rob.
Thanks for coming in, Rob. Take it easy.
Okay, good night, all. Thank you for coming in. I hope it's been entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Take it easy. Bye-bye.